But we're going to begin with the fight over voting rights in this country as the false claims and conspiracy theories about the 2020 election persist and they result in legislative action. Example, Arizona's Republican-controlled state Senate has ordered an audit of more than 2 million ballots from Maricopa County. That's the biggest county in the state, Phoenix. And while the audit won't be able to change the results of the election, experts are worrying it could sow doubt about the results, maybe already has. The Department of Justice expressed concerns about possible violations of ballot preservation laws and voter intimidation by the private firm hired to conduct the audit. It's a mess down there. Arizona's Secretary of State Democrat Katie Hobbs joins us now for more on this. Thanks very much for being with us. It is, as I say, confusing and messy and risky in some ways to the democracy. The firm hired to conduct the audit here, a cybersecurity company called Cyber Ninjas, has no experience working on elections. Company CEO spread misinformation on Twitter. He was part of the Stop the Steal campaign on Twitter about the legitimacy of the last election. So what are they looking for? How are they going about it? What are your concerns?
Well, we have numerous concerns that we have tried to outline to the Senate president, to the folks conducting this audit from the very beginning, to say, look, if you're going to take possession of these ballots and this equipment, you need to take that responsibility seriously. Here's the security measures that are in place in statute and procedure that you should abide by. And that was never even acknowledged. We offered to put them in contact with election experts who could help craft procedures to make this process valid and reliable. They didn't take us up on that. And so what we've seen throughout this process is they really are making it up as they go along. The procedures are not adequate in any regard in terms of how you would go about conducting a post-election audit. They are using UV lights to look for non-existent watermarks and bamboo fibers. It is absolutely making a mockery of this election and doing nothing but going to continue to perpetuate the big lie and continue to undermine voters' confidence in our systems.
Well, the Maricopa County already conducted a hand recount of ballots right after that election, I understand. And there were different firms that examined it in accordance with the rules and procedures that you've just laid out. The voting machines were examined as well. The state Republican chair signed off on the original county certification of ballots. So the laws and procedures were followed. It was checked and rechecked. What's going on here?
Well, this is some politicians who don't like the outcome of the election, and they helped create the big lie with Donald Trump, and they have created these so-called voter concerns that now they're saying they have to address with this audit or with the bills that you talked about. And the fact is that these concerns, they're the ones who created them. And all that this activity is doing is helping to perpetuate them. It's not going to do anything to help restore confidence. The way that we can restore confidence is if we tell the truth about what happened with the election, if we help to uphold the integrity of our elections by saying, look, we have these laws and procedures in place and they were followed. And that's how we do elections in our state.
So you are the responsible public official that certified the election, along with the governor, who's a Republican, and the attorney general, who's a Republican. So that was your job. Let's just go over once again this audit. It's being conducted by a firm, Cyber Ninja, which has never done any election work at all. The head of it was a Stop the Steal conspiracy theorist on Twitter. He deleted his Twitter account, but not before those tweets were copied. And apparently someone who was in the Capitol rioting and attacking the election in Washington, D.C., was one of the ballot counters, was seen as counting ballots. Well, what does this do for the confidence of people in Arizona going forward for their elections?
Well, I think it's doing a lot of harm, not just to elections here in Arizona, but there are election officials across the country watching what's going on here with a lot of concern because they are honestly writing the playbook because they want to do this in other states. And the goal is to continue to disrupt and to continue to undermine the confidence so that in future elections, nobody's sure what's going on, and this is not how we can continue to do elections in our country.
So Arizona's on the verge of passing a new law, I understand, that would remove Arizona voters from permanent early voting lists. How is that going to work, and what other changes might affect the state's elections moving forward that you're concerned about?
Well, there's been a big attempt this year to undermine vote by mail, to make it much, much harder for people to participate. And our vote by mail system has been in place in Arizona for decades. It was passed by a Republican majority legislature, and improvements to it have been made by Republican majority legislatures. And 75% of our voters in Arizona participate in the permanent early vote list, which means they're signed up to receive a ballot in the mail for every election they're eligible to vote in. And it works great, and it's very popular. And there is absolutely no reason to change that system, except if you don't like who's voting and you want to try to make it harder to vote. And that is exactly what's happening right now. They're using the big lie as justification to try to pass these bills. And they're trying to create this false choice and say you can either have security or you can have access, but you can't have both, and that is absolutely false. We proved that in the 2020 election, which was both the most secure election in our country's history and saw historic voter participation in Arizona and across the country.
That's a very good reminder. Record turnout. Trump's own administration, the Department of Homeland Security, Attorney General saying this was a clean election, all those recounts, all those court cases, and yet this effort continues. Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, thank you for being with us, and good luck with that audit.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.